Well, hello everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Mustard Seed Leadership Podcast. We are on part 9 of a series we've called the 5 Levels of Kingdom Leadership. And what we're going to do this lesson is look at level 4, and I've called it Slave-Hearted Leadership. Remember, we started at the beginning. We looked at controlling leadership, level 1. Level 2, we looked at celebrity leadership. Then last week, we looked at servant-hearted leadership. And now we want to go even deeper. And I'm going to talk about slave-hearted leadership. Once again, comes from the same scripture, Matthew chapter 20, verse 26. Not so with you, Jesus was saying to his disciples. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. And that's what we looked at last week. And now verse 27. And whoever wants to be first must be your slave. So 2 different words that Jesus uses here. He uses the word servant. Whoever wants to become great must be your servant. And then he uses the word slave. Whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. That word servant is the word diakonos. It means a minister or a servant. It's where we get the word deacon from. The word slave is the word doulos. That's a slave, a bondman, a man of servile condition. In other words, this is now the lowest of the lowest. In fact, the best way to think about it is many wealthy people, they will have servants, and then the servants will themselves have slaves. So a slave was basically a servant to the servants. And Jesus is taking his description of kingdom leadership a step up here by taking it a step down. So this level is really about that being a servant to the servants. Now, we know kingdom leadership, we looked at last week, is about servant leadership, where the leader adds value to the people. As we take a step down now, today we're going to be talking about the captain of that leadership team. Not just being a leader and adding value to others, but now the value is the leader of the team adding value to his team so that the team can add value to others. Does that make sense? And this is what Jesus is talking about here. To be first means to be the captain of the team. To go from just leading others and having influence to now captaining a team. Jesus takes it deeper. Now your job is to add value to those who add value to others. So Jesus spoke of becoming great and he linked it to servant-hearted leadership. Now he speaks of first, meaning the captain of a team, and links it to slave-hearted leadership. So we're going to be transitioning here from having influence as a leader to actually captaining a leadership team. What are some of the characteristics now of someone bringing out the best in a team, raising leaders around him so that they can then go on and add value to others? Well, such a leader would be someone who knows how to build bridges of understanding. To be a servant to servant leaders means building bridges continually. That's why the slave-hearted leadership, the focus has shifted from you to you helping get the focus on others. And part of that means building bridges, really connecting because you want to unlock the potential inside of them. It means focusing on listening. Sometimes as a leader, you might have a lot of wisdom and people are drawn to your wisdom or your preaching ability. Now as a slave-hearted leader, what you want to do is listen more because you want to bring out the value in others so that they can add value to others. It's all about empowering. It's not so much now about your ministry as you add value to others, but rather how do you empower others so that they can add value to others. It's about being humble because now the spotlight is shifting. Servants even had some spotlight. They did the work, but to be a servant wasn't a bad thing. It was even a noble thing at times. But to be a slave, the servant of a servant, you now become invisible. The spotlight is not on you. And it's about recognizing potential, calling it out in people, and helping to develop it. So, just a couple of things. Obviously now as we begin to look at examples, we've seen examples of leaders, but now what about a slave-hearted leader? And obviously Jesus is the best example of that. And there's that story which I'm sure you know well. We've referenced it many times in the Mustard Seed Leadership Podcast. But Jesus used the washing of the disciples' feet as a powerful demonstration because that is exactly what slaves do. The servant, knowing what needed to be done, the master had guests around the table, so the servant would call in the slave and get the slave to go around doing the menial, invisible task of washing the feet of the disciples. But Jesus demonstrated, and it becomes an amazing story. Let me read it again through this lens in John chapter 13, verses 12 to 17. It says, when Jesus had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and he returned to his place. Do you understand what I've done for you? He asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your teacher and Lord, have washed your feet, you also should wash wash one another's feet. I've set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. Have a couple of thoughts to ponder. Firstly, he didn't do this for reputation. He didn't try even using this foot washing ceremony to enhance his reputation. He said already, you know who I am, your Lord and teacher. In other words, he was operating out of a secure understanding of who he was. He wasn't trying to demonstrate or prove who he was. Now, we've looked at this in previous series. It takes a secure leader to be a servant leader. How much more then to become a slave-hearted leader? When you realize that you're not going to get the glory, it's not about you. It's about you investing in others so that they can release value to the people around them. Then he commands them to treat one another likewise. He didn't command Peter to do it as possibly the new captain of the team. He commanded all of them to wash each other's feet. Now listen to the promise that he adds. He says, now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. In other words, when he spoke about servant-hearted leadership, he promises there's going to be growth and influence. Now as he speaks about those who want to be first, must be your slave, the captain of the team, he said, do these things, and he promises even greater blessing. I want to leave you with just, before I get to the questions, just a personal challenge. I believe God is calling biblical leaders to go deeper. We've spoken about servant-hearted leadership for years. Servant-hearted leaders bring out the value in the people around them. Yes. Now we've got to go further. Now we need captains of teams. People who know how to captain a team and build a team, not just of people serving, but actually of people that they can invest in so that they can release value in others. And so I want you to ponder these questions. Number one, when you hear the term slave-hearted leadership, what comes to mind? What do you think of when you hear slave-hearted leadership? Is it a positive? Is it a negative? What are the thoughts invoked in you? Secondly, based on what you've learned in this lesson, do you aspire to be a captain of the team? And oftentimes many people put up their hand, yes, I want to be captain. I want to be the lead guy. I want to be this. Have you thought about it, what it actually means? Whoever wants to be first among you must be your slave. And then lastly, number three, what are some modern day examples, preferably from your environment, that would be the equivalent of washing the feet of the disciples? Now, people have even turned the washing of feet into a ceremony. We're not talking about that. What are some modern day examples? One of our team members in our staff, at a staff meeting once, he said, well, that would be like the one who has to go to the bank on Monday to go and deposit the money from Sunday. I mean, I hate going to banks, but that's what we're talking about. It's those menial things, it's the hidden things, it's the invisible things, the things that get no glory, but that's what Jesus said. Whoever wants to be first must be your slave. I hope that makes sense to you. Next week we go final episode. We're going to the final level, level 5, and I'm going to introduce that to you next week. But I really do pray that God would be stirring inside of you. We want to become more effective leaders for Jesus and His kingdom. So I hope it helps, and God bless. And we see you one more time next week for the final part of this series. God bless, and bye for now.